Welcome to Ocean Stories, a podcast about the people doing incredible things in, on, and around our oceans. I'm your host, Lydia Carey, and I believe in the power of stories to save our seas. Guys, today we're going to try a more traditional intro, okay? So just sit back and relax. And what do you think about this? Let me know what you think. Hey everyone, welcome back to Ocean Stories, the podcast where we talk about ocean conservation, sustainability, and how to live in harmony with our beautiful oceans. I'm Lydia, and today we're going to talk about a concept that puts the power of change back into our hands, which is voting with your dollar. This is something that is one of my favorite things to talk about and has kind of been a theme of Ocean Stories in the past year. So I'm really excited to do an entire episode dedicated to shopping and how to shop intentionally with the holidays right around the corner. Every purchase that we make is a statement. It can be a literal vote for the kind of future that we want. This topic could not be more relevant right now because of the time of year that it is. And I think that we can turn the frenzy of consumption that the United States seems to constantly be under into an opportunity to support a sustainable future. Imagine if we made sustainable shopping the go-to cool girl, cool guy thing to do. Well, let's start. What sort of impact would that even have? Well, let's start with Black Friday, which is in 2 weeks. For many, Black Friday is one of the biggest shopping days of the year. If anything, it sort of kicks off a period of consumption and shopping where people are at the mall, they're online, they're on blogs looking for the right gifts for people. It just is the start of a major shopping time of the year. And I understand that it can feel like a huge win to score an amazing deal. It can feel so satisfying to get something marked down so low. But in case you did not know, the environment is paying a really steep price for those deals. In 2022, Americans spent over $9 billion during the Black Friday weekend. And thanks to the rise of online shopping and events like Cyber Monday, this number is expected to keep growing. Thank you, Cyber Monday. That was whoever invented that. I have a word to say to them. The problem with this is that, there's a million problems, but one of the problems is that what we buy on Black Friday is built for obsolescence. Obsolescence? It's a bit difficult to say. It's a big word. Obsolescence is referring to the practice of designing products with a limited lifespan, making sure that when they are selling these products that they will soon become outdated. They might stop working completely, or they'll just become outdated in like a cultural way within a specific time frame. It's also called planned obsolescence, and a major culprit of this has been Apple over the years with the changing charging ports. That's a perfect example of this. They put out a phone with a certain type of charging port, and then in a few years, that charger and that charging port is completely useless. They change it up completely so that everybody has to get rid of that phone and buy a new charger because society has changed and moved on to support a new type of technology, creating so much tech waste. That's just one example, but there are a lot of companies that engage in this practice of designing things intentionally so that they will quickly become outdated or even broken. Sometimes products are even made intentionally with materials or components that are very prone to wear and tear so that they break down sooner than you would want them to, and you will be forced to buy a new one. Just think about it. It's an incredible business practice. And when you look around at the objects in your life, especially the objects that you have to keep replacing, you notice that this seemingly diabolical practice is way more common than we'd think. Another one that pops into my mind is Lululemon and their Align leggings, which for women have been marketed to us relentlessly as the best leggings ever. Well, I sort of have a bone to pick with the best leggings ever because not only are they made of polyester, which is plastic, they also get pilling on them after one use. Even if you hand wash them, these leggings get pilling all over them. So it's things like that where things are being designed so that you will want to buy more and more and more of them, which obviously contributes to overconsumption and waste. The things for sale on Black Friday often fall into this category of things that are designed to be thrown away within a few months or within a few years. It's estimated that 80% of Black Friday purchases, like cheap electronics, fast fashion clothing, and other low-quality goods, end up in landfills or are incinerated after just a short life. These products are not designed to last, and a lot of the time, the materials cannot be recycled. Not only does this contribute to a waste problem of them sitting in landfills forever, but I also think it's important to think about the resources used to make the items that are for sale on Black Friday. These resources, especially if we're talking about technology, are often rare or energy-intensive materials like the metals and the minerals that are inside of microchips and things like that. These things are totally wasted after just a few uses. And it's not just the materials, too. This could also apply to a lot of children's toys that are made of plastic, which is derived from fossil fuels, and have technological components inside of them that only last for maybe a year before they're totally thrown away. Most of them are completely unrecyclable. Besides the sheer amount of physical waste it creates of stuff that we are producing physically into our world and then getting rid of after less than a year, there are also a lot of emissions to think about. Shipping emissions, packaging waste, and the environmental toll of mass production. Every way that you look at it, Black Friday is a day that fuels consumption, and the people who are bearing the cost are the people who are more vulnerable, people who are more prone to being exploited by unfair labor, people in the developing world, and of course the planet. But there is sort of a silver lining, or at least I see a silver lining in the whole Black Friday conundrum, and that is that we have the power to change this. This is not something that companies are forcing us to do, although it is true that billions and billions of dollars each year go into advertising and convincing us that we need more products in order to be happy. We still have the power to decide where we spend our dollars. We don't walk into Macy's and somebody steals $50 out of our purse, right? In a time right now where a lot of people that care about the environment feel super powerless, I think that shopping and consumerism is a major, it's sort of like an area of low-hanging fruit in my eyes, where I see tons of potential for positive change from a consumer level. Consumer spending accounts for a little bit over 60% of global GDP. What? That's more than half. That's massive. If we could redirect just 1% of the global consumer spending, just 1%, to businesses that prioritize people, planet, ethical practices, and sustainability, we could generate $700 billion annually for positive impact. $700 billion. Imagine what that kind of money could do. That money could fund innovations in ocean conservation technology. It could reduce waste. It could support companies and individuals that are working to create a circular economy where resources are reused instead of trashed. That is billions and billions of dollars towards small businesses that are pushing the boundaries of what has always been traditionally a very profit-seeking world. And they are actually trying to do something with their business that has never been done before, which is not destroy the environment and not exploit people just to make $1 million. I know that I've said circular economy a lot on this podcast, so I wanted to quickly explain what it means. Circular economy is talking about an economic system where everything is designed to reduce waste and to make the most out of resources by keeping our products in use for as long as possible. So right now what we have is the traditional linear economy, which follows a model of take, make, and dispose. So the circular economy hopes to throw that away in the trash. Wow, a little trash fun. And to create a closed loop system where resources are reused, repaired, recycled, or regenerated. So this approach would reduce, obviously, the environmental impact of throwing our stuff in the landfill, and it conserves natural resources because we are just constantly cutting down trees and just getting more fossil fuels and just pillaging the environment for more resources to create and produce the stuff that we buy. So the circular economy is good for the front end and the back end, if you know what I mean. Products are created to last longer and be easier to repair, disassemble, or recycle. Have you noticed how many of our products are nearly impossible to repair? Once again, I'm thinking about Apple, but there are a lot of examples of this in our lives. Imagine if companies gave two shits about making products, excuse my language, sorry about that, about making products that were easy to repair, where when one piece broke, we could easily take that off and replace it with a new one. A lot of small sustainable businesses that are working towards a circular economy also work to eliminate waste and pollution in the production process. They rethink the methods that are traditional. They minimize resource use as much as possible, and they eliminate unnecessary materials like single-use plastics. This is hard work, right? This means that there is someone on their team whose job it is to just figure out how to eliminate the extra waste created by their production. Because like I said earlier, this is not the traditional way of doing things, right? For example, we had someone come on who owns a swimwear brand, and she was talking about how every time she wanted to do something sustainable, her manufacturer would be like, what? They don't know, they weren't using sustainable mailers or compostable packaging or all of this different stuff. And in a lot of cases, they didn't even offer it because that's just not the way that most big businesses are doing things. That's what's so great about these small sustainable brands is they are signaling to the market that we want more sustainable options. A major problem with a lot of the recycling that we have in our current day is that so many of the products that we throw away or that we try to recycle are made with multiple materials. We have our paper coffee cups that are lined with plastic, making them impossible to recycle. Or we have a plastic something or other with a metal lining and a metal little thing on it that makes it impossible for recycling facilities to handle. So designing products intentionally so that they are able to be recycled easily and with the least amount of sorting and energy would be so good. Like, let's put more things in glass, let's put more things in metal, and let's start recycling things in a more logical way, right? Just look in your pantry. There's like a million types of packaging and a million types of different bottles and da da da. Do you know what I saw the other day? And I've been seeing more of recently, the High Noon tall cans, which High Noon is like this alcoholic drink it's sort of like it's a vodka seltzer. They make these big cans for them. It's just like a giant can. I don't know the amount of liquid in there, but I've noticed that they started putting plastic tabs on the top of these cans rather than the traditional opening thing. Rather than the traditional can opener, they started putting these plastic tabs on top so that if you wanted to take a few sips and then close it, put it back in your fridge, it'll be totally sealed and it won't go to waste because you can drink it later. Okay, what? Like, I love that we are trying to make products better for consumers, and it is sort of a sweet idea to think, yay, I won't have to waste my High Noon if I don't want to buy it. If I don't want to drink the entire thing in one sitting, okay, it's nice that I could close this tab and put it back in the cooler and then drink it again in a few hours. I guess that's a nice idea, but why can't I just buy a smaller size? Like, do we really need to increase the amount of energy needed in production and increase the amount of non-recyclable waste that we are creating just so that I can be convenienced enough to save my drink for a few more hours? I would rather just buy a smaller High Noon can. Because what happens when you have the metal can and the plastic thing on top connected by the glue is that unless you separate that before you recycle, you are messing up the recycling machines. Because that metal can is going to go with all the other metal and the machine is going to get messed up because it actually has plastic on it. The plastic might get melted with the metal, and then you're going to have a lower quality metal that's not going to pass the tests for being made into new products, and it's going to get thrown out. And that is just a really big price to pay, such a waste of time, energy, and resources, just so that we could have a tall boy High Noon can that's resealable. Like, it just feels like we are going too far in the name of convenience. Although I love packaging innovation, like, let's do packaging innovation towards sustainability, please. Taking the circular economy idea a little bit further, some businesses are even focused on regenerating natural systems with what they're doing. So this means that they are not only trying to reduce their impact or eliminate it completely. A lot of them will go even one step further and they'll start donating money to initiatives, charities, and organizations. Putting our money towards those sorts of businesses, which are often smaller and lesser known, is hugely powerful because our dollars are not just currency, they are votes for the world we want to see. We control a lot of the time which businesses fail and which succeed. So that is such an important thing to think about this holiday season. Let's talk about a few ways that we can shop more intentionally now that we understand what sort of businesses we want to be supporting. Number one is some classic advice that you might have already heard because I have already heard it, but it's nonetheless an important reminder, which is to pause before you purchase something. Take a moment before you hit buy or before you walk to that checkout line at TJ Maxx, okay? TJ Maxx is like the number one culprit of this because they have so much stuff. It's like their buyers, they must go to the factories and be like, what can we get where if we put this in the aisle, like we convince people that this is cute enough and that this like fulfills a need in their life, because you will walk through the aisles of TJ Maxx and you will look around and be like, not only is everything so cute and adorable, I also feel like I need this stuff. Like I feel like I need this back scrubber with bristles on one side and a massager on the other. You know, or you walk around and you're like, oh my goodness, I totally didn't realize that I need kitten socks. Like kitten socks are going to like up level my life. But stop and ask yourself, do I really need this? Will it add value to my life? Or am I just caught up in the deal? Am I just caught up in the sale? Sales tactics are incredibly manipulative. They know what they're doing. And this is coming from a girl, okay, that works in marketing. They have perfected the psychology of getting you to buy something, or else 60% of global GDP would not be made up of consumer spending, okay? They know what they're doing. So pause before you purchase and be mindful about what you're buying and why, because this can really help you avoid unnecessary waste. The second thing I'm going to recommend is to try shopping secondhand and shopping local and small secondhand stores that they often are totally run by donations and their money goes to charity. So this is different than a Goodwill or a Salvation Army, although you can debate all day long whether those businesses are doing good for like our society or not. You know, I know that there's a lot of controversy there, but if you live in a big city or a small town, there are a lot of times these small thrift stores that are run 100% by volunteers, where every purchase you make, large percentage of that money goes towards giving back to the community. I want to talk about shopping secondhand specifically for the holidays. I think that there is a huge misconception about what you are able to find at the thrift store. I found that among my friends that don't secondhand shop, they are really surprised when I have something amazing and I tell them I got it at the thrift store. And I do think I have an eye for really amazing things because I have been thrifting for so long, for most of my life. And if you don't have that, I just don't want that to stop you from taking a chance on going to the thrift store for holiday gifts. I know that that might sound, oh, she's so cheap, I would never give something. Oh, that's so cheap. Like, that is so rude. I don't want to give someone a gift from the thrift store. Like, that's dirty, that's gross, that's something used, that's not nice. Just hear me out. Give me 1 second. There is amazing stuff at the thrift store. There are sometimes really beautiful sets of vintage plates, beautiful dishware and servingware. People donate entirely, completely still in the box servingware and like plateware that would make a beautiful gift for your classy aunt that loves having a big turkey-shaped crystal plate in the middle of the table for Thanksgiving. There are beautiful sets of silver napkin holders or golden serving trays. A lot of the time, if you go to your thrift store often and as soon as they open or as soon as they've put out new stuff, I mean, obviously you're going to have to figure out when that is. It's not that hard. You can find stuff that is completely new and unused that has been donated. I recently bought a French press that is super nice. It's a glass French press and from the thrift store for $8, completely new, unused, in the box. I have thrifted gorgeous sets of mugs as gifts. One of my favorite gifts I ever got was I bought this beautiful hat box from the thrift store, and I bought a set of 4 emerald green wine glasses, and I gave them to a friend who had no wine glasses. And I just thought that that was such a beautiful gift that otherwise I don't even think I'd be able to afford. But check the glassware section, check the basket section. Everybody loves a nice basket. And this stuff, I'm telling you, is in the thrift stores by the hundreds. Hundreds. Do you have a grandma who absolutely loves Christmas decorations? Well, you're in luck because thrift stores are overflowing with Christmas decorations. And I'm not just talking cheap, half broken decorations. I'm talking collectible White House Christmas ornaments, collectible bells, vintage, I don't even know because I don't really collect decorations, but I can tell that there is some nice stuff there. A classic thrift store gift is to buy a vintage picture frame and add in a photo of you and the person that you're giving the gift to. Gallery walls are extremely in right now, and giving somebody a really beautiful, funky picture frame is not only a nice gift, but it's also thoughtful because you took the time to print a photo of the both of you, and it's affordable. It's so affordable. That is such a thoughtful and nice but cheap gift. If you're going to somebody's house for Friendsgiving and you want to bring them a gift, you could get a really beautiful crystal vase and some flowers, or you could dry flowers and then it becomes a permanent decoration. If you have an uncle that loves to cook, check out the cookbook section. Actually, check out the book section in general. Photo books and travel guidebooks and those coffee table types of books are also super in right now, and they're really expensive. Like, I don't know if you've seen the price that people are charging for some of these cookbooks and coffee table books, but just go to the thrift store because those books already exist and they cost 99 cents. Again, maybe you're thinking, all these gifts are like super stupid and I would never give these to my family. The wrapping and the presentation of a gift is half of the experience of receiving it. Do you know what I mean? So get some recycled materials, start collecting right now. Okay, this is a little embarrassing. I don't know if she's gonna listen to this, but I found a bow on the ground in a parking lot, threw it in the washing machine, washed it, and tied it onto a box for my friend's birthday present, and it looked amazing. Okay, it made a boring box go from a boring box to a cute box with a little pink bow, and I literally found it on the ground. Okay, so consider the way you package a gift contributes to how it's perceived. You might be thinking, oh, well, thrift store gift is so cheap. Well, maybe you could find a really cute piece of jewelry, like a quirky necklace or really quirky, fun earrings, clean them with an alcohol pad, clean them however you need to, and put it in an old jewelry box with some tissue paper, wrap it nicely with a Trader Joe's bag, draw all over the Trader Joe's bag, and you have yourself a really thoughtful, sweet gift that is good for the environment, that is creative and thoughtful, and that does not break the bank. I mean, I just feel like I have an endless amount of thrift store ideas. You could go handbags route. You could go the classy silk scarf route. You could go for the vinyl record for a music lover. You could go with an old Blu-ray DVD for a mom and a family who has one of those car movie players. Do you know what I'm talking about? Something else that I love the idea of is doing a custom gift basket for those really special people in your life, because what can you always find at the thrift store? An amazing basket, an amazing mug, a really good book, and candles. Those items 9 times out of 10 will be available at the thrift store. They make the cutest theme ever for a cozy night in gift basket. So yes, shopping secondhand is one of my favorite things to do, and around the holidays, I think it can be a super amazing secret sneak attack strategy for the absolute best gifts. The third thing that I'm going to say about shopping sustainably and intentionally is giving experiences instead of physical items. Consider gifting experiences. Last Christmas, this is the route that I took, and my family received it so well. What I did was I bought a chocolate bar for every person in my family, and I wrapped it in white computer paper and drew a snowman on every single chocolate bar. And then each chocolate bar inside of the wrapping, I attached a gift certificate to an experience that I had booked for either me and them or them and someone else in my family. For example, for my mom, I got her and I a plant workshop, a terrarium workshop where we got to go out, we had dinner, and then we made a succulent terrarium together. So it was like giving something that we got to spend time doing together. Because at the end of the day, sometimes we don't need more physical stuff to lie around in our closet. Another thing about experiences is it's like the upgraded adult version of giving the coupon books we would give when we were like 5 years old and 6 years old, like one hug, one foot massage. It's kind of like that idea, but upgraded. You could get somebody a snorkeling trip or another experience for an upcoming trip that they have. You could give somebody an Airbnb gift card or a gift card for some adventure company that is in their area, just to contribute to taking a little bit off the price of some experience like skydiving or I don't know. I like this because it also tends to support the smaller businesses in your area that are running these types of events. Like the terrarium workshop was in a plant store. I mean, think along the lines of axe throwing, of a paint and sip, of any sort of craft night. You could go to a show, a comedy show, or a play. You could go to a sports game. This could be sports tickets or a concert. Experiences create lasting memories without adding to the pile of waste that pops up after Christmas is over. Experiences are incredibly meaningful and they don't end up in a landfill. Now, let's say that there's somebody in your life who you really want to get something new for and you want to find a sustainable brand to shop. How do you know if they're sustainable? How do you know they're not greenwashing? How can we put our dollars towards companies that are making the most environmental and social impact? I think I could talk about this for ages, but I'll just give a few of my personal top tips for shopping sustainable brands. Certified B corporations or B Corps are a great example of businesses that are creating a better world. These companies have been vetted against rigorous standards of performance, accountability, and transparency. Their certification is awarded by this organization called B Lab, and they have showed a commitment. They have demonstrated a commitment to balancing profit with purpose. This could be paying fair wages, reducing their carbon footprint, or contributing to their communities. However, getting a B Corp certification is a long process and is very expensive. So if there's a small sustainable brand that you really love and they're not a B Corp, don't be afraid to shop there. A lot of these gigantic companies actually have one person whose entire job it is to work on the paperwork of getting the B Corp's registration. So that's not always possible for these smaller, more local businesses. Another noteworthy certification is 1% for the planet, which companies with this designation, they pledge to donate 1% of their annual sales to environmental causes. A lot of really forward-thinking companies donate more than 1%, but 1% for the planet is pretty reputable. It showcases an ongoing commitment to sustainability. Other certifications like Fair Trade, USDA Organic, or Carbon Neutral are also green flags to look for. Companies that talk about using eco-friendly materials and committing to ethical labor practices, take a little bit of a look into whether or not their supply chains are transparent, whether or not they are sourcing locally. It can be a little bit difficult, but thank goodness there are online platforms that specialize in vetting these brands. Good On You is one of them. Good On You vets fashion brands and clothing brands to determine whether their claims are backed up or not. Done Good is another one. A very, very simple and easy Google search of a brand will oftentimes tell you whether or not they are actually sustainable. If you're like me and you're like, where am I supposed to find these small brands? Because guess what? You've probably never heard of half of them, because guess what? They don't have marketing budgets like these other big players do. They cannot afford to pay influencers thousands of dollars for one post because they are putting that money towards doing good. So how can you find them? I have found the majority of them through social media. Eco influencers and influencers that are trying to talk about a different narrative online around shopping, they know these small businesses. A lot of them even have sustainable business directories and newsletters where they tell you, oh, if you're looking for new underwear, here's 3 brands that are incredible and way better than any Aerie American Eagle underwear you'll ever try. Or they'll say, are you looking for a gift for the person who loves to cook in your life? Well, here are 10 brands that are small, that produce everything local to the United States or to wherever you are, and they are certified organic or something like that. Sustainable influencers are a huge hack if you're trying to live like a more earthy lifestyle because they post the most accessible, easy content. They are not the preachy people of environmentalist past, okay? They know how to give really useful and actionable insights on how to shop better, and they are also connected to brands that are better for the environment. So that was a bit of a ramble, but there are easy ways to find small businesses that make incredible products, and a huge one is simply Googling whether or not a brand is sustainable, and another one is following an influencer or following somebody online that makes slow living content that talks about sustainable lifestyle. I know a lot of them, and I've been saying that I'm going to put up a list of them on the Ocean Stories Instagram, and I still want to do that. So look out for that as soon as this episode goes live. Just look for people that are involved in niches like zero waste living, ethical fashion, or environmental activism. Following them has been such an educational thing for me, and it's just some really smart men and women out there. Oh, you could also consider joining Facebook groups, forums, or subreddits about sustainability. It's like, you might not want to do the research on some random brand. Well, go on Reddit because I guarantee you that somebody on Reddit has like already contacted the grandma of the founder of the business and has already figured out whether or not they use like plastic. I don't even know. Like there's probably somebody that has done a deep dive on that brand and has posted it somewhere online. It's really a community out there of people who are trying to stop the rampant overconsumption and the waste that's created by it. I will also be resharing a lot of the gift guides that my favorite people online make. The first ever Ocean Stories episode was with Kendra Nelson, and she makes these amazing holiday gift guides. And what I love about her gift guides is they even highlight who owns the brand. So it will be like a list of Indigenous owned brands or women owned brands. I think that's really beautiful too, because when you are shopping at a small business, you are literally making someone's dreams come true. Your money is creating such a happy, positive ripple effect in this world by supporting a small business than by supporting a gigantic corporation. And listen, I know that a lot of the time it feels easier to buy and shop from a big business. I know, because guess what? Their marketing is incredible because they are working around the clock to manipulate us into buying more of their stuff. And they are working very hard to undercut small businesses so that we give them more of our money. But we gotta resist that. We have to be conscious consumers and aware shoppers that actually challenge the status quo. Listen, you can go online and you can see 100 reels talking about how we're in late stage capitalism and how this is the apocalypse and how just everything related to capitalism is cancer and capitalism is destroying us and da 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 da. And I don't know what you guys think about that. I guess I kind of agree. Like, I'm not going to say that it's great. I'm not really number one lover of capitalism, but where you spend your money does make a difference. And I know that this topic can be contentious for some because some sustainable brands tend to be more expensive. So I wanted to touch on that. If you have limited money or limited resources, trust me, you're talking to somebody who knows what that's like. I don't want to speak for you, so I guess I'll just speak for myself. I do not want my lack of money or resources to be an excuse for why I need to or will support a brand that is destroying our environment or a brand that is exploiting human beings so that I could give some gift, some low quality gift to someone in my life. I am not saying that at a moment when I have low resources or lower funds that I need to support a sustainable brand that's charging $190 for a pair of 100% organic cotton leggings, okay? That is not the sort of advice that I'm giving. I'm saying that I would rather create a craft for somebody than to buy them something from Temu. I would rather give somebody a thoughtful picture frame that was $4.99 from the thrift store and print out a photo at the Walgreens, which costs less than 50 cents, and write them a beautiful letter about what they mean to me than to spend $15 on Amazon, getting them something that was produced I don't even know where by someone who I don't even know how much money they're making, and then shipped across the world I don't even know how quickly, to somehow get to my door in the last 30 seconds right before Christmas Day, to wrap it in virgin paper that probably won't be recycled, just to have something to give them, right? Like, it's about actually thinking through these things and not letting the pressures of Christmas and holiday shopping get to us, which I know that is incredibly difficult. And I know that family pressures can also contribute to this, right? Like, if your family is a huge, huge gift giving family, which I know a lot of people are, this is an opportunity to have one of those conversations that I am always talking about, right? You can give these thoughtful, unique gifts that'll be unlike anything they've ever gotten before. An experience, okay? A vintage plate set from the thrift store, maybe a craft that you made, or maybe it's a really nice sweater from a really amazing sustainable brand that gives some of their money to women farmers. I don't know. That is going to be a unique gift and a conversation starter. And not only that, it is literally a vote for the future that you want to see. We always have a choice. We can contribute to the cycle of overconsumption, or we can try to be part of the solution when that's possible for us. It's not about spending more. It's about spending smarter. It's about spending to support businesses intentionally that align with our values and rejecting the throwaway culture that has brought so much harm to our planet. Every purchase that you make is a chance to make a difference. And if you care about clean oceans and you care about thriving marine life and a future that actually is going to work for this earth, we are going to have to change how we shop. I'm talking about all of this stuff, guys. I have bought from Amazon. When I was in high school, I bought like 10 bikinis from Shein. I was in high school, okay? I had no idea about this type of stuff. So there's no shame here. I just wanted to say that, because like I've always said, everybody has a different situation. Everybody has different circumstances. And I'm not trying to come for, I hope you get what I'm saying when I say that. If you know a sustainable brand that aligns with the mission of Ocean Stories, let me know on Instagram, because I would love to share it in a gift guide that I am working on with some of the different brands and brands associated with people that have been guests on the podcast before. Let's show the world how powerful our dollars can be when we use them wisely this winter. I would love to see a true shift in holiday shopping towards buying less crapola and voting more with our dollars, taking our power back. Okay, until next time, bye. Thanks for listening to another episode of Ocean Stories. Don't forget to follow our social media channels for extra content behind the scenes and to connect with our guests. If you like this episode, please leave a review and let us know what you think. See you soon for more Ocean Stories.